What's going on, guys? It's Ray here, and today I'm at a spot called Beaver Lake here in Arkansas where I'm gonna be diving inside of this lake to try to find some pretty insane things. Now, as you guys know, I am a huge diver, and growing up here in the Midwest, there's not a ton of places to dive. However, Beaver Lake is actually a pretty great spot to dive. Visibility is usually pretty good. Here in the summer, the water temp is pretty bearable, and there's a ton to see under the surface. So obviously, I've been diving this lake for a very, very long time. However, the spot I'm at today is a secret location where I'm gonna try to find some supposed sunken treasure underneath the surface. Now, somewhere right offshore in this water right behind me, supposedly there's a bunch of sunken objects like cars, boats, and even airplanes. I know, it sounds pretty crazy, but I'm gonna be trying to find those today while diving. Now, I don't have a map or anything. I'm just gonna be diving by myself today, and I'm gonna try to navigate under there to try to find these objects. And like I just said, I am diving out here by myself today, and when it comes to diving, safety is always the #1 priority. So I'm not doing traditional scuba diving. I'm out here using my NOMAD today, which you guys have seen me use in the past. But if you haven't, basically it's a battery powered diving system. It's gonna deliver air all the way down to the reg. See, you can see it work right here. So yeah, I probably got about maybe an hour or so of bottom time with this NOMAD fully charged up. But if you guys are curious and you want to check out the product, there will be a link in the description. Okay, I'm here in the water, NOMAD all ready to go, fully charged, and these sunken objects are supposedly somewhere right offshore here. So it's time to use my underwater navigation skills. Let's see what we can find. Like I stated earlier, I've been diving in this lake for a very long time, and believe it or not, this is some of the best visibility I've ever had here. The water was also surprisingly warm with a surface temperature of 88 degrees. I followed the slope down to around the 20-foot mark where I discovered this really old line. I figured this had to lead to something pretty cool, so I started following it. And pretty quickly, I saw something out of the corner of my eye that gave me a little bit of a scare. As you can imagine, seeing this shape out of the corner of your eye while diving alone can be pretty freaky, but it was just this really cool looking robot, and right next to it was a sunken car. I had finally found what I came here to see. I'm not exactly sure what kind of car this is, but it's definitely been down here for a very long time. I'm also not sure why or how this car got down here in the first place, but I started exploring around the car and even went inside. There was also a sign next to the car that read, "We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty," which goes to show you that even 25 feet underwater, you just can't escape it. However, I do know that there's a lot more to be discovered here, so I continued exploring around the area. I was finding a lot of weird little statues and items, including this little robot dog that I thought was pretty cute, and even a freaking piano. This is definitely, actually scratch that, this is the wackiest dive site I've ever been to. But since the car, I haven't seen anything really cool. And since the spot is so tricky to navigate, I popped back up to the surface to see where I was at. Just came up to see where we are. Okay. Now that I had my location secured, I knew which direction I should head in, and that's when I made one heck of a discovery. That's right, we have yet another car and even a sunken boat. This is for sure a Volkswagen Bug. It's hard to mistake that, and it looks even older than the last car, despite it being in pretty good shape. It's really cool seeing these cars and wondering when and how they got down here. But unfortunately, with how much this car was still intact, I couldn't quite get inside of it like the last car. So I made the short swim over to the boat. This is a pretty decently sized speedboat, and the local bluegill and sunfish seem to love this spot. I mean, look at how many were surrounding me. It's so crazy. It even got a little bit playful at times. There isn't too much to see inside of the boat as it's pretty damaged, but man, finding a car and a boat right next to each other underwater is just crazy. Eventually, I found another line, this time leading straight out into deeper water, so of course I decided to follow it. On the way out, I passed a jet ski. This was definitely unexpected on the dive, and the jet ski is still in great condition for probably being down here for more than a decade. Eventually, I made my way to the 30-foot mark, which is as deep as I can can go with my Nomad. And that's when I saw it, a massive shape right in front of me. And when I got closer, I discovered it was a huge shipwreck. I had no idea that a wreck of this size existed in this lake. I'm guessing this vessel is around 30 feet in length and sits in roughly 40 feet of water. I was even able to look inside of the boat, where of course there were some more fish present, but also a lot of scattered equipment as well. I did want to go inside, but I was right at my Nomad's limit, which made it impossible. This boat definitely appears to have been down here for a while. My guess would be at least 15 to 20 years. I just can't believe how big this wreck is. I've never seen anything like this in a freshwater lake. It's so long I can't even see the other side of it. Definitely one of the coolest wrecks I've ever explored. But with that being said, my Nomad battery was just about empty, so I slowly made my way towards the shore to end the dive. I came here with the goal of finding sunken treasure and lost items, and boy did I accomplish that. 2 cars, 2 boats, a jet ski, piano, and even a robot dog. I would comfortably say this is the most unique dive site I've ever been to, and I can't wait to go back here in the future and see what other secret objects I can find.